Welcome back to another Khan Academy tutorial for quadratics by factoring, the intro on West Explains Best. So let's go ahead and get started. We have solve for x here, and the quadratic that gives us is x squared minus 20x plus 100 equals 0. Here's the key to these problems. Number one, you're going to need two parentheses where you're going to put two binomials. I like to call them slots. So we have these first slots, the first terms. Those are going to be the factors of x squared in the trinomial. Then we have the second slot. I like to designate it with a different type of line underneath it. And that corresponds to the factors of the last term. So as we try to factor this thing, we're going to be looking for factors of x squared and also 100. Let's start with x squared. With many of these, if it's a coefficient of 1, these are going to be very easy because it's just x and x. So we can go ahead and write x and x here because there's no other factors for x squared other than x times x. Okay, now we're moving on to 100. Here we have a little bit of flexibility, which creates a little bit of a headache for us, but not too bad. What are factors of positive 100? Well, we have many things. We have 10 times 10. We have negative 10 times negative 10. We have 50 times 2. We have negative 50 times negative 2. We have 25 times 4. We have negative 25 times negative 4. And we have 20 times 5. So we have 20 times 5, and we have negative 20 times negative 5. Okay, so we have a lot of possibilities. Think about this. All of these terms, that this could be negative 50, this could be negative 2, it could be negative 25, it could be negative 4. There's a lot of possibilities. So instead of trying each one and then you foiling to check to see if you got it right, to see if it matches up with this original, what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of strategy. Who doesn't like a real-time strategy game anyway, okay? Well, what we're going to do here is to figure out which of these factors, which there's many, right? Which of these factors we're going to choose. We're going to use our clue, and our clue is these factors need to have a sum of negative 20. How do I know this? Well, based on the rules of foiling and multiplying binomials, we know that these two factors are going to be like terms because they're both going to have x as a coefficient. And then what we're going to do is we're going to combine them. We're going to end up adding those outside and inside terms. So we need to find factors of 100 that add up to negative 20. So that rules out 10 and 10. That rules out this. You can see I skipped one on purpose. Yes, I did. Negative 10 and negative 10. So why does that work? We're going to pick negative 10 and negative 10. And why does that work? Well, what we're going to do is, the reason why it works is because once we FOIL, let me go ahead and get my purple out. Once we FOIL, we get x squared minus 10x, and then we get minus 10x plus 100 when we do negative 10 times negative 10. The only terms that are in common are these, and it gets negative 20x, and then we have x squared plus 100. See how we get the same thing? This is standard form. This is factored form. Factored form is very useful, which is why factoring is a thing in general. Okay, so x minus 10 and x minus 10 are answers. Now it's asking what does x equal. So this is just one additional step. Because it's equal to 0, what we say is what values in the parentheses will make that go to 0. So let me go ahead and write this in dark green. X minus 10, x minus 10. What values could I put in for x to make it equal 0? So look at each one of these individually and say to yourself, x minus 10 equals 0. What does x equal? X minus 10 equals 0. What does x equal? So we add 10, we get x equals 10. And that's going to be our answer for both of these, but we only need to put it in once. So we're going to put x equals 10. That was a lot all at once, so let's do another example. Okay, this time it says smaller x and larger x. It's a little helpful. So the first thing we always do, we're going to put our two parentheses. These don't have any common factors between the three. So there's nothing more we can do there. So we're going to go ahead and move to the next part. So the next part, again, we put our first slot there for the first term. Then we're going to put our second slot there. Boom. Okay. Factors of x squared, x and x. Factors of 27. This is where we should list it. Okay. It's very important to list these factors. I always do this. Now we say that the middle term is positive, so we know we're going to be dealing with positive factors only. 9 times 3. What else do we have? 27 and 1. I can't think of any other ones. Which one of these adds up to give me positive 12, which has a sum of 12? Only this one has a sum of 12. So we're going to use 9 and 3, and they're both positive, so we put plus sign. We're not done, people. And this is the next and final step. What values of x will make this go to 0? Notice how it says equal to 0 here. X plus 9 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. We're going to solve for x. Minus 9, minus 9, minus 3, minus 3. We get x equals negative 9. X equals negative 3. So we're looking for the smaller and the larger. Well, the smaller one is going to be x equals negative 9. Negative 9. And this larger one is going to be x equals negative 3. All right, next one. Okay, we got x squared. We got 2 parentheses here. First slot, first slot. Then we have our different color. We got this slot, second slot, second slot. Okay, what are my factors of x squared? They give me x squared, x and x. What are my factors of 49? Okay, now here's where I need to be strategic. I have 49, 1. I have negative 49, negative 1. I have 7 and 7. I have negative 7 times negative 7. Which of these adds up to give me a negative 14? Clearly, we're not going to be choosing the ones that are positive. So we're down to the negative ones. And that is going to be negative 7 and negative 7. So we're going to choose negative 7, negative 7. Final thing we do, x minus 7 needs to equal 0. X minus 7 needs to equal 0. What does x equal? We add 7 to both sides. X becomes 7. Add 7 to both sides, same thing. X equals 7. Is it going to be our answer? Okay, last one. X squared. Well, let me just do this. We have the first slot, and then we have the second slot. So let's get our parentheses out. Boom, 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 boom. First slot, second slot, second slot. X and x. X times x gives me x squared. Now, I need to be strategic here. 32. What are my factors of 32? I got 8 and 4. I got it on the first go. Wow, what do you know? It could have been 32 and 1, but we know it's going to be 8 and 4. Why? 8 and 4 add up to give me my middle coefficient. So I know it's going to be 8 and 4. 8, 4, and they're both positive, so I put plus signs. Now I need to do one more problem. The problem is x plus 8 needs to equal 0. This needs to equal 0. I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides here. I get x equals negative 8. Same thing over here. Subtract 4. X equals negative 4. My larger one is going to be negative 4. My smaller one is going to be negative 8. Negative 8. Negative 4. Survey says, looks great. Hope you guys have just as much success as I did, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Wes Explains Best. Take care.